Good Tuesday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing, looking at our significant impacts. None today. Wind should die down. It'll gradually get sunnier and warmer, but it is Wednesday. The reddish shading you see through here indicates hot, dry conditions along with high Haines indices in areas of dry fuels or cured fuels. So kind of our first summer heat wave starting to push up from the southwest on northwards. And same thing on Thursday. We continue with the very hot, dry conditions at the surface. However, there is a hint now of a little piece of quasi-monsoonal moisture starting to push up from the Arizona Strip into parts of southern Utah, especially southwest Utah. So where we see these areas in red and getting more isolated as you head further north, the possibility of dry lightning. Looking at the past 24 hours precipitation, northern areas got clipped with some light precipitation here on the left. Lots of lightning here. You can see over the past 24 hours, northeast Nevada, northwest Utah, into much of Idaho and Wyoming. A lot of this came with low-end wetting rains, some isolated heavier rains, but all areas had fairly high humidity. And since the most critical fuels are still the lower elevation grasses and brush, high humidity really limits ignitions. Did have one fire here in south central Idaho that ran a couple dozen acres. Otherwise, any starts and just a few from the lightning in those areas were very small or basically non-existent during that time. Now, it's been quite dry the last 7 days and the last 14 days, especially across the Snake River Plain, all of Nevada, down the Arizona Strip, southern Utah. So those are areas that have been seeing their fuels cook for several weeks now. And we see those ERCs now approaching the 80th to 90th percentile in the red and orange down here. So you can see quite a change towards drier fuels. Notice the arrows pointing downwards here. There was some moisture here in southern Idaho. So those fuels have moistened, but they will steadily dry over the next few days when we look at the weather. 10-hour fuels, again, most critical now from about the I-80 corridor on southward, especially further south. A bit of a respite with the moisture up in Idaho. That should buy them about another day or two before the hot, dry weather cures those fuels out very quickly. Interesting, these are actually ERC values, and up in northern Idaho, up towards McCall, those ERCs have steadily pushed upwards with the dry weather the past few weeks to normal early July levels now. So that's one thing to note. Further down in southwest Utah, also at normal levels, and down in the Arizona Strip and far southern Utah, actually fuels ERCs have gone above normal, somewhere between normal and record levels. Normally this time of year, fuels are on their way downwards in those southern areas because of the onset of the monsoon being delayed. Fuels are now drier than normal. Live fuel moisture still is the inhibitor in a lot of areas, back to near normal in parts of the Snake River Plain, about 120, but parts of Utah still above normal fuel moisture on the live brush side. Getting down towards the 120, 130 level in southern Nevada, so at that point the brush could start becoming a part of the fire component. Satellite imagery shows a deep, low-pressure area, again, pattern of the past few weeks, pushing into the Pacific Northwest, kind of preventing the onset of the monsoon, but you see this high-pressure ridge here building towards the Four Corners. So now we're finally going to get into a battle of whether the buildup of the heat here in the southwest can start the Four Corners high and start pushing up an organized monsoon pattern, or will it be limited by these unseasonably strong and farther south storms that keep plowing into the Pacific Northwest. We'll see how that plays out here. For today, there's the moisture with that storm moving onshore, stays west of our area. Weak ridge high pressure trying to build in right now. A little bit of monsoonal moisture well down into Mexico, nowhere near the lower 48 yet. You see our fuels here on the right-hand side, our fire potential drying out, especially southern areas, and how much it's moistened up here in the north. Relative humidity today, highest in the north, obviously, but down into the single digits and low teens further south. No real significant winds. A little bit here in southwest Nevada. Some gusts could be in the mid to upper 20s. Otherwise, we're looking at 10 to 20 mile an hour winds, basically normal. Now, for tomorrow, notice all of a sudden this high really strengthens. Four Corners high kind of pushes and weakens this low, keeps that moisture pushing northwards. So at this point, we have the system in place that with a clockwise flow can bring up some subtropical moisture. Now, there's not a ton of it down here in Mexico, but there is some. That's what we'll be watching. Fire potential on the right-hand side here, driest areas to the south. Again, you see the same low humidities in the southern areas. Starting to dry out into the teens up here in Idaho and to parts of Wyoming. Nothing significant on the wind, just normal southwest winds, 10 to 20. Now, here's the issue. On Thursday, the high pressure ridge, the Four Corners High, kind of sits there, and that clockwise flow starts bringing up a little bit of moisture in drips and drabs here across the Arizona Strip into parts of south central Utah, kind of staying east of the Nevada border. But that is our main concern for the possibility of lightning, which you saw on our impact map. And if this pattern continues, we might have to issue high risk for lightning in some of these areas by tomorrow morning. Humidity during the day on Thursday will be quite dry again, single digits to mid-teens in the south and upper teens, low 20s in the north. Now on the right-hand side, this is a high-resolution model that shows these pin drop precipitation areas through here. You can see these little dots through here. We'll highlight that area. That's a signature of thunderstorm activity that could produce some lightning, but nothing in terms of deep, organized, heavy rainfall. So that's a dry lightning signature in the models and something we'll have to watch to see if that trend continues. 3-day precipitation total on a more broader scale, just some light amounts through here. Further down the road on Friday, there's that moisture still pooling up just south of the area, but getting into parts of eastern Utah. I know some of these browns have shifted to yellow down here in the south. Some of these greens have shifted to yellow in the north. As we continue into Saturday, that high pressure continues. More and more monsoonal moisture starts to finally organize after being about a week and a half to 2 weeks late. And you can see it plowing more steadily into our southern and eastern areas. That trend continues on Sunday and into Monday. Widespread moisture clouds and maybe more of a wet thunderstorm issue by the time we get into early next week, especially for the eastern portion of the Great Basin, staying mainly dry to the west and far north. 7-day precipitation total, still not that much. A lot of that moisture may not reach the ground, so we'll have to see on that. The 8 to 14-day outlook, warmer than normal to near normal temperatures, but again here after that first monsoonal push, it looks like some of it will get shifted further to the east over New Mexico and eastern Arizona, but for the Arizona Strip, southern Nevada, Utah, it looks like we'll start drying out once again July 16th to the 22nd. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.